How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm great. Just tell us what we're doing today.
My name is Vinny, and we are coming live from Active Fitness Center. Today we're going to do spinning class. We've got a lady instructor who's going to show us how to do spinning class. Let's get it on.
All right, let's get it on. Oh my God, I'm tired. I need to work out a lot more. My chest feels it's burning, but it's opening up after all. I had a cough. You know, with these flus that we're having this season, I think we have to keep working. Spinning is good for your own good. So this has been your girl Helen from Active Fitness Center Gym. Keep working out.
All right, so fitness is inevitable in order to keep our bodies in shape, but most importantly, to keep healthy. And thank you so much to the fitness team. Thank you, Helen, for those tips. I must say I've actually lost about 25 kilos in the space of 1 week. That's how important fitness is. Thank you also to the news and current affairs team for being with you from the hour of 6 until now. Good morning and welcome to Morning Live Lifestyle. From this hour until the hour of 9, it's me, Kenneth, and Mooka as we discuss a very, very pertinent issue. Good morning, Mooka.
Good morning, Ken. It's a lovely morning.
Yes, it is. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Yeah, just trying to keep myself warm.
Yeah, it's very important. It's quite chilly. Yeah.
Okay, now today we're looking at voluntary counseling and testing. Now, this is an issue that people are aware about, but are we actually going out there and getting tested?
And a lot of emphasis, I must say, has been placed on this issue. But obviously, the statistics are quite a bit worrying, considering the number of people that are going out there, to go and test. So should it be mandatory?
Well, that's a question that we will be finding out about. And, I read somewhere that actually more people are abstaining from voluntary counseling and testing for fear of stigmatization. And with the percentage of people that are actually going for voluntary counseling and testing is quite alarming.
Quite alarming. All right. So this morning we shall be able to engage, our different stakeholders, our guests, to just run us through and help us with the information, the much information that we need, to discuss the issue. So amongst the guests, obviously, we've got the Ministry of Health coming through, as well as the National AIDS Council. UNSAID as well is coming through to just help us, dissect this topic as much as we need.
Mm-hmm. And, I think for a long time now, people have said, okay, we know enough information about HIV/AIDS, so we know about VCT, we know about that. But at the end of the day, we are forgetting, that it is very important to know one's status. So
it is.
I'm really glad that we'll be having all these stakeholders who will be helping us discuss that. Now, we're going into the weekend, and, we're always rushing for work and never have time to prepare ourselves a good meal when we're coming for work. But the weekend, you can sleep in, wake up, and prepare yourself a lovely breakfast. So we'll be.
You sound like someone that had a very, very good breakfast.
And today?
Yeah, this morning.
Not this morning.
You were rushing for work?
Tomorrow, I'm planning on having a very good breakfast.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
You must wake up early, obviously, to try and
make. But the good thing is that the breakfast that the recipes that we give the people out there, they're really short. They're really quick to make, and it's easy for us to learn about them. So we're going into our breakfast and finding out what recipe Prudence has for us today.
Thank you so much for staying glued to the pulse of television. You're watching The Breakfast Show with me, Prudence Moyo. Right about now, I'm at Fairview Hotel with Chef Peter, who's going to prepare for us pizza pancakes. Stay tuned and enjoy. Chef Peter, how are you? And welcome to The Breakfast Show.
I'm all right, madam, and how are you?
Fine, thank you. What are you preparing for us?
Today I'm gonna teach you on how to prepare a pizza pancake.
Okay, can you take us through the ingredients and the process?
Sure. Okay, we've got our mixture here of pancake, and then from there, when we make our pancake, we're gonna put on top the mixed veg, and then with the cheese on top. Later on, this will be our sauce for the pizza.
All right.
And then this will be just our decor. And then this will be our ingredients. And then the egg will be on top of the pizza.
All right. Thank you so much. Take us through the process.
So I'm gonna get my pan. I'm gonna get my butter. Put it on the hot stove instead of using. You don't have to use cooking oil for the pancakes.
Why shouldn't you use cooking oil?
Cooking oil has got a lot of cholesterol. And then, not just that, but with the pancake, if you're making a pancake, inside you use butter. Okay. So you just let your butter be melted. In our pancake mixer, there's flour, milk, sugar, salt. Then you just want to pour it there. You let it just fry it a bit to rise because there's also baking powder in it. And then you toss it. It doesn't have to be brown, because you're going to bake it for 3 minutes. Just both sides should be about 3 minutes. So that can take about 6 minutes to 7.
Just to fry the pancake.
Yes.
So what are the ingredients in the pancake?
The ingredient, like I said at first, just milk, flour, egg, salt, caster sugar. And
Them at once?
Yeah, no, and then with the melted butter. So like you flip it there just for about 3 minutes. You get your melted butter, and then your egg plus milk. You mix them together. And then the dry ingredients are sugar, flour, salt. You mix them together, and then you mix them together at the end. So our pancake. Our pancake is even done. Then I'm gonna fry my egg. This will be an over easy. Your egg doesn't have to be the yolk. You don't have to break your yolk. So you just have to wait for a bit. We're not turning this. Okay, our egg is done. So I'm going to put my pancake on the plate. And then later, I'm going to get my fondue. It's just a tomato soup. Just a mix of tomato and onion. I'm gonna get my carrots. These are branched carrots with a bit of salt and pepper in it. And then some bit of onion. These are green pepper. Just put them on the sides. Around this. And then later on I'm gonna put our cheese. Just a bit of the cheese. Okay, from here we're going to put it in the oven for about 2 minutes just to make the cheese melt. Our pancake, yes. Our pizza pancake is done.
Okay.
So later on we're just going to put our egg. This is basil. So this is just our cucumber.
Okay.
Then our pizza pancake is done.
It looks very wonderful. I like it actually. I can't wait to just eat. It looks very beautiful. How long does it take to prepare such a beautiful meal?
It just takes about 20 minutes.
Okay.
20 minutes because 10 minutes it's a mix of the pancake and then the egg, just about 2 minutes.
And can you give us any health tip concerning this meal?
Okay. It has got proteins and energy, no cholesterol, no fats in it.
Wow. Yes. That's good. Thanks a lot for preparing such a healthy meal for us.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There we have it from Chef Peter. He's prepared a very, very wonderful meal. I hope viewers, you're going to try it there at home. Thank you so much for staying with me, Prudence Moyo. It's back to the studio.
Wow, egg pancake.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be trying that out tomorrow. I hope you guys out there are going to try it out. It's always nice to try different recipes. You can't have the same
considering that breakfast is amongst the most important meal. Breakfast, they say you can. What do they say? Eat breakfast like a what?
Like a king. And lunch like a prince. So, okay, I don't know the other part. But yeah, breakfast like a king is the most important thing. So that's your breakfast.
But it's a bit light when it comes to supper.
Yes, definitely. Right. Supper has to be light. So this is Morning Live Lifestyle, and we are looking at voluntary counseling and testing. And actually, the nation will be commemorating the HIV Testing and Counseling Day on the 15th of August, which is next Tuesday. Now, this was previously known as VCT Day, but it's now HTCT, which is HIV Testing and Counseling and Treatment, because they're actually encouraging people to get on treatment once they are found to be HIV positive. So this year's theme is Test and Treat Towards Ending AIDS. Now, we are joined by Dr. Tina Chisenga from the Ministry of Health, and she'll be helping us understand this day in detail. She'll be talking to Ken.
All right. So now the Ministry of Health holds the central responsibility for medical care, preventive care services through its wide network of public health institutions countrywide. In this regard, the Ministry of Health undertakes a package of basic health care, and I'm glad to have a representative from the Ministry of Health, Dr. Tina Chisenga. Good morning and welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm fine, thank you.
All right. We're talking about VCT, which we've been informed that it has actually changed. Perhaps let's begin from there.
Okay. I'm sure you're aware that we used to commemorate Voluntary Counseling and Testing Day on the 30th of June every year since 2006. But with the change of the guidelines by WHO, we actually adopted Test and Treat in 2016, which was about December. And then even the minister launched the Test and Treat strategy this year. So in line with the same, we thought, okay, there's need to actually even change the way we are commemorating this day and amplifying the fact that after you test positive, you are immediately commenced on treatment. So it stops being about voluntary counseling and testing, and it ends there, but moves on to having testing combined or linked to treatment.
Okay, then one obviously would ask now, you know, considering that we have changed from VCT to HTC, is it
HTCT Day? HTCT Day.
HTCT Day. Has it become mandatory now for one to test?
No, it's not mandatory, but what we're saying is that those people that we find positive or those who come for HIV testing and are tested positive will be started on treatment. It's still we'll still have provider-initiated testing and counseling. If you come to our health facilities, we're going to offer you the service of testing, and then if you are agreeable, you will test you, and then if you happen to be positive, we'll start you on treatment. The idea is to reduce the number of people who end up getting into the end-stage disease, which is AIDS, by having them start treatment at an earlier time.
Okay, with a lot of emphasis obviously placed on, you know, testing, do you think that the information has sunk in, you know, to the members of the public?
In terms of the information about testing, in my opinion, I think the public is aware, but we obviously have to do a little bit more to ensure that more people are actually testing or coming voluntarily, so to say, for testing. The strategy that the Ministry of Health is going to use moving forward is that we're not going to wait for people to come to our facilities, but we'll go out in the communities to offer them these services. And the emphasis on the day is actually the same. We are trying to amplify this same strategy of going into the communities, making sure that we're giving them the services before they actually get sick.
Okay. Would like to find out, obviously, what are the current statistics in terms of HIV prevalence rates right now?
Okay, so we did an assessment in 2016 where we were trying to ascertain the prevalence of HIV as well as the incidence or the new infections of HIV. And what came out is that there's actually a reduction in prevalence. If we look at the age group between 15 to 49, we're currently at 11.6%. And this is a decrease from what was previously done, or not a similar study, but under the Zambia Demographic Health Survey in 2013. So there's been a decrease from, I think it was 13.3 to 11.6%.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, can go on.
Sorry, and then the new infections have also decreased. So for us to measure if we're actually winning, we rather concentrate on the new infections that we're reporting every year.
Okay. All right. One of the issues, obviously, that comes out with regard to our topic of discussion this morning is the issue of male circumcision. There's been a lot of, misinformation out there to the members of the public, and a lot of myth surrounding this male circumcision. Maybe you could help us understand, does it help in terms of reducing the, chances of contracting HIV and AIDS?
Okay, studies that have been done have shown that male circumcision actually reduces the chance of getting HIV by 60%. Okay. This means that, yes, there's a chance that you are reducing your risk of being infected, but it doesn't mean that you should now recklessly just go out there and conduct in such a way that you feel that you won't get the infection. You continue with the same aspects like using condoms and obviously abstaining if you're able to, but we're trying to say that with male circumcision, your chance of getting HIV has been reduced by 60%.
Okay. I know there's been a lot of information, obviously, regarding male circumcision, but how much are you amplifying on the sensitization, considering that there are a lot of, misconceptions surrounding this?
What we're trying to do as Ministry of Health is engaging the community leaders to ensure that if they know exactly what male circumcision is about, they're able to describe or to explain exactly in their own terms, according to their communities, what the benefits of male circumcision are, and also how they need to continue with the preventive methods for contracting HIV. So we're trying to engage with the community leaders. We're sensitizing using our foot soldiers, what we call the foot soldiers. So people who are coming from the communities, going door to door and explaining some of these services that we're actually giving to the communities.
All right, let's talk about, a lot of information, a lot of other people coming out that they've actually acquired the treatment and the cure to HIV and AIDS. What is your stance as Ministry of Health regards these people that have come out to say they've got the cure?
With Ministry of Health, we always have to confine to what WHO has actually declared out there. So in terms of coming up with a cure, we are here to uphold the health of the Zambian people. If WHO comes out and says, okay, this drug or this method is preventive or is curative, we will surely adopt that treatment as well as preventive method. All our strategies and all our plans are in line with what WHO has actually accepted as preventive and curative methods. All
right. And having that said, have you certified any of these people that have come up to say they've got the cure?
I think it's not up to Ministry of Health to certify, so to say. If you look at all the methods or all our treatment regimens that we have, everything is pre-WHO qualified. So after it has been pre-WHO qualified, we thereafter come to Zambia and are able to run it through our laboratory to see how best we can adapt it to our country situation.
All right. Considering that there's been a lot of sensitization, obviously a lot of information out there in public domain towards HIV and AIDS, do you think that now people are actually less scared of, undertaking testing?
Unfortunately, the testing numbers, as Mooka said, are not as impressive as they should be. Currently, we are testing approximately 67. We have tested approximately 67% of the people who are presumed to be HIV positive. So, in terms of our testing numbers on a yearly basis, we rarely reach our targets. So what the Ministry of Health is trying to do is come up with innovative methods to ensure that people actually get tested. In terms of stigma, I think there's still a lot of self-stigma. A lot of people are sensitized about HIV. People know about HIV, what actually leads to the AIDS, the end stage of HIV. But people are still not going to the facilities to get tested. This is why I'm saying that we have shifted and we're coming up with strategies that will ensure that more people are getting tested by going into the communities. The other strategy that the Ministry of Health is also spearheading is self-testing. It's still in the pilot stage at the moment, in research stage at the moment, but we're hoping that with self-testing, people are able to break that barrier. If I give you a test kit which you're able to use in your home or in any place that you're comfortable with, it gives you more chance to know your status, and it will also push you towards moving to the health facility if you test positive or if you test negative. If you're not sure, it gives you a chance and it gives you the power to know your HIV status. What we want people to do is know their status. It's not about Ministry of Health knowing your status, but it's about the individual knowing their status. So these are the strategies that we're coming with as Ministry of Health.
All right, I've come across a lot of people that, are scared to go out there and test because they feel that the information is not kept private. Can we confide, in these people, the counselors that offer these services?
The counselors as well as the health professionals undergo some training, which we emphasize confidentiality and privacy of the results or the test results. I know it's something that's a bit scary for some people because they think, okay, if I test positive, this person is going to know my status. But I think by coming to your home, or maybe if you're coming from a facility, we come to your home, we counsel you, and then you know exactly what's supposed to happen. It gives you more power to say, okay, fine, I'll get tested. And also, I think even the self-testing gives a bit more privacy because you're doing it yourself. So in terms of are they keeping confidentiality, they are encouraged, or we actually push it upon them to make sure that they keep the confidentiality.
All right.
Yeah.
I must say thank you so much for coming through to Morning Live this
morning. Thank you very much.
Dr. Tina Tsenga there, a representative from the Ministry of Health, Mooka. A lot of information, insightful.
Quite interesting information, and I think Ministry of Health has embarked on a great journey to go out there in the communities and get people to get tested. And sometimes for some people it could be the journey to the counseling center, maybe they don't have transport, then there are all sorts of excuses.
There are a lot of excuses actually that come up. Some people, but I feel it's a decision that you have to make within yourself. You must be ready for it. There's no way someone is just going to push you to say, go and do this. You must first make sure to say, okay, I'm confident enough, I want to do this. After all, there are a lot of benefits that comes with knowing your status, isn't that so?
Definitely, a lot of health benefits, and now you get treatment immediately, you know your status. So the chances of you, the disease progressing are very slim because, of course, it's your health condition is going to be regulated.
Exactly. This is Morning Live Lifestyle, and we are moving on, and today we're discussing a very pertinent issue prior to August 15th, where we, commemorating what is it called again?
It's no longer VCT Day.
It's no longer VCT Day. This is information that needs to go out there because, a lot of us are still in that blanket of VCT.
HIV testing and HIV testing, counseling and treatment day. And it's being held under the theme Test and Treat Towards Ending AIDS.
All right. Right now we move on, and remember that this is the Friday edition of Morning Live. So obviously your your Friday insights will be coming through. And right now we go straight to fashion and check out what is trending.
Welcome to Fashion Fun, the moment of beauty. With me, Prudence Moyo. Right about now, I'm with Rebecca, a makeup artist who's going to showcase her makeup career with us on the show today. Stay glued to TV2, the pulse of television. Rebecca Katongo, it's good to have you on the show today.
Thank you very much, Prudence. Thank you.
I'm pleased to have you today. I learned that you're a makeup artist. You're a good makeup artist. We want to know, like, what type of makeup do you do?
I do bridal makeup. I do any type of makeup. For those people who are very fast, like people wake up early in the morning, you want to do your makeup very fast. So there's a natural type of way of doing it, and the other way is doing it bright, like kind of a brightish type of a way.
Okay.
Yes.
So can you kindly share with us what are the makeup essentials that every woman must have? Like, you know, as women, we've got our makeup bags. So yes. What can you share with us? Like, what should we usually have all the time?
A woman definitely have to have a bronzer. Okay. You have to have concealer. Like, you don't have to buy things that are lighter than your complexion. You have to have makeup. You have to have facial fix spray. You have to have an eyebrow, at least that is dark, to match with your complexion. You have to have gel together with the eyebrow. You have to have all those things. You make sure you have mascara. If you love eyelashes, you also buy the glue. You buy the lashes as well. You have to have all those things. It's not like you have to buy it at the same time. You buy slowly, because at the same time they really consume a lot of money. So I have a face like this one. She's natural, as you can see. She's very natural. Only the lipstick is being shown as it's purple. But when you want to have this type of a look, you have to start with your spray. The spray is the one that will fix everything so that you don't sweat that much. And then when you use the spray, you start with your brows now. You start working on your brows. Make sure you shape them. You shape your brows with an eyebrow pencil. When you shape your brows, as far she's dark, so I use the dark eyebrow and gel. So that's what I use in the brows, this part. You only concentrate on this part, the outer part. You don't go this side, because we want the natural part to come out on the eyebrow so that it can look like it's one. If you don't want it to look like one, you can actually rub on in between the brows, so that it can look like two eyebrows. But most ladies prefer the one that I've just done. And then when you put the gel and the eyebrow, then you have to put the concealer this side. Like, you shape the brows. You don't have to bother if the brows are coming out a bit darkish or scrubbled. You just use your concealer. The concealer is the one. It's the one that you have to use, that so that the brows can be shaped in the direction that you want them to be shaped. So when you finish that, you can now use your powder. You apply your powder, whatever type of powder that you use. When you finish, and make sure on the contour, when you use the contour, you use it like if you want to shape your nose, you use the contour this side, like on the face, starting from this side, going down here, this side. You go down, then you go the other side. Then you use it again, starting from there, then you go the other side. Okay? So, this is the contour that I used. I used this shade first, because she's dark, so I wanted it to come out so that the nose can be shaped. Then I used the other shade, so that it can be a little bit darker, so that she can look a bit natural. And then I ended with the dark with the dark one, to make sure that she blends everything, like it blends with the type of skin that she has. And then when I finished, I used a bronzer. This is a bronzer that I use to make the nose shine, to make it more long. And I also use the bronzer on the lips here, and I also use it on the nose so that the nose can pop up. And this type of makeup is for someone who's very fast. When you're late for work, you want to do your makeup more natural fast. When you get at the office, you do your makeup later on. So this is a more natural look that you can go for. And on the brows, you do your brows fast, and then everything comes in together. And then on the makeup, this is the makeup that I used. I went for a darker type of makeup because of she's fast, she's going for work. So I used the color purplish, brownish, darkish. That you concentrate. That's what I use, and then you concentrate on this side of your eye. You don't go starting from there to here. Make sure that this side is more darker than the other side. Same applies to the other eye. And then you make sure that your concealer is a bit light on this side together with the other side. If you want, you can use your eyeliner. You use your eyeliner if you get at the office, but I don't think you can use your eyeliner properly when you are very fast. So that's why I didn't use the eyeliner. And for eyelashes, you use, if you want, you can just use them like fast. You just put them. You use your glue. Those skirts, when they are much advisable than the ones that they use in Kamala, the one that you use like to open up your eye, those are dangerous. So you use the one that is skirts kind of type. And then when you use that one, it's more accurate. Like you can even remove it when you want to sleep. You put it on back, you use it, and then when you occasionally you put it, then you remove it. So right now I just use the mascara. That's what I put, just a bit of mascara, so that the lashes can pop up just a bit, because she's very fast, she's going for it. So I use a bit of mascara, and that's it. Then the lipstick. So there you go, that's the look.
There you have it on Fashion Fun today. I've been talking to Rebecca Katongo, a great makeup artist. And ladies out there, I guess you've gotten your essential makeup tips from Rebecca today. Thank you so much for staying glued to TV2. Keep watching.
All right, so that is our fashion of today. And thank you so much, Prudence, for teaching us more about how, makeup should be done, how your eyebrows should be done. Do I need to do makeup as well?
Okay, not that makeup that we're seeing right there, but yes. Especially the fact that you're a TV personality, Ken, you need to always look fresh. And
I always, when I'm going on set, I always engage Helen to just do a bit of makeup here. But do I need
makeup artist?
Yeah, she is at the moment. I think she is.
I hope she knows that.
Yes, she does. All right. So this is Morning Live Lifestyle, and we are looking at VCT, which is now HTC and HTCT actually. And you can contribute on our Facebook page. There's a status that has been put up, so look, search for TV2 Zambia, and then you can, bring out all those contributions that you have regards our topic this morning, and we shall be able to, scroll your messages as the program is going on. And we are moving on right now, and yes, we're getting a representation from UNAIDS by the name of Dr. Madin, and Mooka will get speaking to her right now.
Thanks, Ken. Dr. Medina, welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you so much for having me, Mooka.
Okay, so just tell us a bit about the mandate of UNAIDS.
Yeah, so UNAIDS and the other UN families, in Zambia, we are here to work in partnership with key stakeholders, mainly government, private sector, civil societies, and others, in support of, delivering on the Sustainable Development Agenda. We have moved from the MDGs, the Millennium Development Goals that expired in 2015, and now we have, a global commitment which is called the Sustainable Development Agenda 2030. So in the Sustainable Development Agenda, we have about 17, different goals, and we are here to make sure that, we partner with the government, so the government is, or the nation is able to deliver, on those commitments. So coming back specifically to UNAIDS, that has to do more, focusing on responding the AIDS epidemic. And as part of the Sustainable Development Agenda and the high-level commitment political declaration that was adopted last year in June in New York, we have 10 bold commitments on how to end, the AIDS epidemic in Zambia and globally. So we support with strategic information, with advocacy, and in making sure that, we work in partnership with key stakeholders, as I say, not only government, but all the stakeholders, because AIDS is about, is a concern for everyone. So we have, the country ownership, but also global solidarity. So the resource mobilization also means that, we have to reach out to others to support, basically, the effort that Zambia is doing to end the AIDS epidemic. That's what we do.
Okay. You do a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are looking at voluntary counseling and testing, which is now test and treat. Why do you think it was changed from voluntary counseling and testing to now pushing the test and treat agenda?
Okay, so again, I want to refer back to the political declaration that was adopted last year. In fact, Zambia played a big role in that. The government of Zambia and Switzerland were the two countries appointed to facilitate, the negotiation around the political declaration. So there was a leading role played by Zambia. Now, when you see at the commitments that the political declaration came out with, it says now we have to achieve, 90 targets, which are the fast-track target. And what this means is 90% of people living with HIV need to know their HIV status. So how? Obviously through testing. Then the second 90 refers to 90% of people who test positive will access, treatment services, the life-saving treatment services. And then the last 90 refers to viral load suppression, because if one is adhering to the treatment services, then the viral load in the body will go down to undetectable, so that that person does not further transmit or spread the virus. That is the means of ending the AIDS epidemic. So the reason why we are moving from voluntary counseling and testing, people have been just, going to, facilities or, where these services are provided just on voluntary basis. But now, if we are committed to really achieve this fast-track target 90, it's no more like, just sitting and waiting for people to come, but we need to apply different strategies to really reach out to those, vulnerable or exposed to HIV, so that we can identify, those affected or infected with the virus, so that they are accessing treatment, and then the viral load is suppressed. And then we are able to achieve, the commitment, as I said, because all the member states have signed up to achieve, the political declaration commitment. That's why now we are moving to test and treat immediately. There is no even gap, as long as the person is ready, to access treatment services.
Okay. So how much sensitization then is being given to the people, to the communities?
As Dr. Chisenga was mentioning earlier, we can't say the sensitization level that we have done is sufficient. So we need to do more. When you look at the number of people living with HIV globally, close to 37 million. And when you see how many of those are on treatment, only about 50%. So this clearly shows you that, we haven't really done, enough, not necessarily just in Zambia, but even elsewhere. In Zambia, the percentage of people who know their HIV status has reached about 67%, which is good. But again, you can see still, we have to do more. So a lot of sensitization needs to be done in different, mechanisms. So engaging, civil societies, people, living with HIV themselves, and faith-based leaders, and a number of mechanisms. So there is obviously a lot that needs to be done. But I think there are efforts that are ongoing. But now that we want to achieve the triple 90s by 2020, I think we have to intensify. That's why now the government, or specifically Ministry of Health and National AIDS Council, has really now came up with this Test and Treat Day. So it's not just a commemoration, but really programmatic to identify people, to encourage people to come and get tested. But obviously we'll continue until we make sure that we have really come to an end of the epidemic as a public health threat.
Okay. Now, are we seeing a reduction in HIV and AIDS awareness campaigns? I mean, years back, we would remember seeing so many HIV and AIDS awareness, commercials, documentaries on television, print media. I don't know is it that people are getting used to the HIV and AIDS awareness messages, or there has actually been a reduction in these HIV and AIDS awareness campaigns?
You're right, Mooka. I think in both ways. So generally, I must say that there is a real a reduction when we look at it in totality. But if I see like group of population, for example, among the young people in general, it's on the rising trend. So we have to be really conscious of who is really getting infected. So unless we know the source, it will be very difficult actually, to really talk about ending the epidemic. So if you look at the infection rate among adolescent girls and young women, especially the age range of 20 to 24, the adolescent girls and young women are 4 times more infected compared to the same age range of, their male counterparts. So we need now, to focus. So it's not like, you are reaching everyone, everywhere, but we have to identify, okay, who is getting infected and how do we make sure that, this group of population are accessing, testing and treatment services. That's why now we need, to focus more on young people. In fact, UNAIDS, appointed, by the way, a goodwill ambassador called Lulu Hangala. She must be, familiar to you. Yeah, she is. Young women, very passionate. And the reason being, it's like, she is young so that she can easily, communicate, with young people to encourage, to mobilize them to know their HIV status and, access treatment services. So we are hoping that, even the awareness that you mentioned earlier, we need to really use and apply different strategies. So that's why we have now her as goodwill ambassador. In fact, she will be doing a public testing, on the event next Tuesday, so that, a lot of young people will also, follow, her example and know their HIV status.
Okay, so in short, you're tailor-making the awareness campaigns to the target audience, let's say the young people, as you've said.
Yes, so I think for this particular event, the Ministry, National AIDS Council, and the stakeholders, including ourselves, we have now focused on certain group of population who really need to get tested and know their HIV status. So again, encouraging pregnant mothers and babies because of the vertical transmission. The young people, adolescent and young people, as I said, men are not also usually accessing services. We are very much encouraging, men to come out and access, these services. And generally, vulnerable and key population as well, because that's where, the new infections are coming from. So that if, we target this group of population, I think we should be able to really moving towards achieving the triple 90s that I alluded to earlier.
Okay. Now, stigma obviously is still a huge issue, self-stigma especially, and it's obviously preventing a lot of people from going out there and getting tested. So what are you doing in terms of, encouraging people to get tested and reducing this fear of stigma and discrimination?
Yes, that has been one of the barriers globally, including in Zambia, because out of fear, people do not really come out. Even if they know, they don't disclose, their status to their partners. So there is a lot of work being done around partner notification, but also to engage, as I said, key stakeholders like the traditional leaders, the faith-based leaders, the network of people living with HIV, because it's easier, if people can communicate and be counseled, by these people, so that they can really get rid of this minimize in a way, the stigma and discrimination. But I think it's not something that we can really overcome overnight. This requires really a lot of and continuous effort by also intensifying or strengthening the workplace HIV policy. As I said earlier, men, where do we really get the men to get tested? Workplace is one way. So this requires a lot of effort and work. But I think there is an ongoing effort. I can't say that is enough, but again, we learn from what we are doing, whether it's working, and we need to come up with some innovative approach to really minimize stigma and discrimination.
Okay. Now, what are you doing to encourage people who are found positive to get on antiretroviral treatment? Or because in Zambia we've seen situations where people are found to be positive and they opt for maybe other ways like immune boosters and other herbal. We now have herbal remedies that are said to, you know, regulate the CD4 count and all that. What are you doing to encourage them to actually take the right medication?
So as soon as someone, you know, tests positive, in fact, you know, in the commemoration day, HIV testing, counseling, and treatment. So the counseling part is also there. So it's not that, you know, we have forgotten about counseling. So as soon as people, you know, tests positive, there is a counseling, you know, provided. There are a number of mechanisms actually that are already in place, including, you know, the HIV self-testing that was discussed earlier, so that people, you know, if they start treatment, you know, in a timely fashion, they really, you know, have a productive and healthy life. I think that is, you know, the best incentive that one can really have. So with that, we are hoping that in addition to, you know, the sensitization, including, in fact, you know, this discussion, I'm hoping that, you know, the information reaches to many people so that they know, you know, this treatment service is accessible. And now, regardless of the CD4, because earlier, because of, you know, the shortage of drugs, resources, so we used to depend on CD4 count. But now that's not anymore the case. So regardless of the CD4 count, anyone tests positive is counseled so that, you know, treatment services are made, you know, accessible. And then, as I said, you know, the viral load suppression can be immediately, you know, suppressed as long as they adhere to, you know, the treatment services. So instead of now referring to, you know, different formulas that are not scientifically proven, clinically proven to be effective and safe, I think it's better to use what is already, you know, in the regimen, I mean the regimen that is available. And when time comes that, you know, any formula is safe and effective, then, you know, it can be added into the regimen.
Okay. Now, what are some of the programs or projects that you have for people living with HIV and AIDS?
So people living with HIV, as you know, they are organized in the form of organization. Like, you know, one typical is, for example, the network of Zambian people living with HIV. So, you know, it used to be that, you know, we provide services to them. So they are kind of, you know, on the receiving, you know, end. But now we are saying that, you know, they have to be part and parcel of, you know, the effort that is, you know, going to end, you know, the AIDS epidemic as part of the Sustainable Development Agenda by 2030. That is the time frame we have. So they are part of, you know, the planning. They are part of, you know, the implementation. They are part of the mobilization so that, you know, more people can really come and, you know their HIV status, making sure that, you know, they are adhering to treatment services because they have community groups that provide, you know, support, you know, peer support for adherence, and even the viral load suppression, you know, some education. Because as I said earlier, we used to depend on CD4 count, but now we have, you know, the viral load suppression tests provided so that they need to educate people that, you know, they have this opportunity to really see the extent of, you know, the viral load suppression in the body. So I think, you know, they are part and parcel of, you know, the whole effort of the AIDS response, because without the participation of, you know, affected communities, it will be very difficult actually to address, especially the stigma, you know, discrimination, and yeah, those kind of things.
So finally, as we wind up, let's say a person goes for testing and they're found to be HIV negative, and they feel, oh yeah, like they've won a battle or something, and they just go out there and live reckless. Like, what are some of the preventative measures that you enforce as UNAIDS?
Yes, I think prevention, you raised, you know, a very important question. We are not just focusing on, like, you know, identifying people who have already been infected and then putting them on treatment. Of course, you know, treatment is one way of prevention, by the way, because as I said, as long as one has a viral load suppression, which means, you know, that person is not transmitting, you know, the disease. But now prevention is very important. So prevention, that, you know, no more new infections happening. So there are a number of, you know, strategies for prevention, you know, high impact intervention, which are in the National Strategic Framework that was launched, you know, this year in May. So we encourage, you know, people to remain, you know, negative. But if tested positive, then obviously, you know, they have access to the treatment wing.
Okay. And the benefits of knowing your HIV status?
So the benefit, I think it's absolutely clear. So if I test, negative, then I know how to really maintain, that status. If I test positive, still I have an option to access treatment and again, suppress the viral load in my body so that, I don't transmit. That way, I will support my people, my community, my nation, and eventually, the world, so that we don't talk anymore about AIDS.
Okay. Now, what are there likelihoods of making mistakes, when people go for voluntary counseling and testing? How likely is it that their status can actually be a mistake?
So, the precision of the testing kits, so nothing is 100% obviously. So there are confirmatory tests. So once, one test is positive on the spot, so, if the person is really having any doubt, there are confirmatory tests, that need to be done prior to starting the antiretroviral treatment. So we shouldn't really be worried very much about that. As, the provider will make sure that, they do the confirmatory test.
Okay. So which other organizations are you currently working with in Zambia?
As I said, with the government line ministries, because, HIV is not just about the disease itself, it has got a gender face. So if we want to really address, gender equality, which is the SDG 5, some of the inequalities in general, so we work really with different line ministries. If you take, for example, the Ministry of General Education, that is implementing the comprehensive sexuality education so that our young people have a comprehensive knowledge on how to prevent, getting infected. Or Ministry of Gender to make sure that, there is gender equality and girls and women can decide for their own rights to get tested, to access treatment services and all of that. So I think, it's a very broad partnership, by the way. So the UN is about partnership as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wow, a lot of information there from UNAIDS. Thank you so much, Dr. Medina.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Mooka. A lot of information obviously coming out, and mine is that a bit worrying. Only 67% of the people actually have gone for testing.
Yeah, that is quite worrying, and it all comes back to self-stigma. Sometimes people believe that what you don't know can't kill you.
Yeah,
and that's actually a myth, because what you don't know can actually kill you, because you would have you've denied yourself the chance of getting treatment early, and helping you live a better, healthier and longer life.
You know how we just always have excuses for not wanting to do something. I liked what you were talking about, because I've heard a lot of people saying, I can't go for testing because I hear sometimes they'll give you the results which are not actually yours. That is a myth, and she has explained well that, if it's a case like that happened, you would actually go for a retesting. You can even visit a different health.
They actually encourage you to take more than one test from different places, just to see whether it's accurate, like maybe two or three different places.
Yes, exactly.
And you see what the results are.
All right, so this is Morning Live Lifestyle, and this morning we are looking at a very pertinent issue of discussion, and we're looking at VCT, which is now HTCT. And yes, a lot of issues being brought out from there. We've engaged so far different just stakeholders to help us discuss our topic of discussion. But remember, you can be part of this program by going to our Facebook page, which is TV2 Zambia, and contribute, bring out all those contributions on our Facebook page, and we shall be glad, to just scroll them down and get what your line of thought is. All right, it's top of the hour 8. We have to go for our news headlines. So just now, let's recap in what is happening in the news.